So hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Have the Race Gone. My name is DirtenDK and I am here with the smooth Trals 666, and we are greatly looking forward to bringing you round 6, race 2 of the Nukeshot Endurance Series. And it is of course once more from the Tokyo Expressway, the East Outer Loop, in the dark of night.
Yeah, it's a different one, this one. The only night race of the season.
It sure is, and last week we were in for a dramatic one indeed, with
absolutely
a lot of action.
Yeah. These walls seem to be incredibly close when you're passing by at high speed. Accidental, tiny little jab accent there, unintentional. Yeah, sometimes it feels like you're on that perfect line and you still end up hitting the wall, and then having to deal with traffic that in some of these corners are moving at almost twice the speed. It's really something.
It certainly is. So as we are loading the replay, I'm gonna just take the chance to go through the championship standings as they stand coming into this round. And we're gonna start off with the LMP AM drivers in where it's of course Nilseman leading off. He has 112 points and a massive advantage down to Off Apple, who's in second position with 70 points. Then it's Ninja Karma in third with 63 points. Gugas in fourth with 40. Then it's Mika close in fifth with 37 points. Snipperator, Jermaine, GTO, and Jim lining out the rest of the championship there. And in the GT3 Pro Drivers Championship, it is one heck of a close standings. It is Joe of the Fire leading with 100 points. In second position at the moment, it is Stevie, the defending champion. He has 89 points. Then CJ in third position, he has 80 points. So the top three only split by 20 points. And mind you, a victory gives 25. So there's really no margin
still to play here, definitely in the pro class as well.
Definitely so. Then it's you, Trals, in fourth position with the 50 points. Then Wake, CU in fifth. Myself in sixth position with Armored Core, Sparks, and Tetsu Kobura for the rest of the field. So, and with that said, I think it's time for the grid walk. Trials hasn't done the grid walk before, so all apologies. I'm so sorry, I could have.
Now I remember what you're talking about.
The grid walk.
I've been so incredibly busy. I haven't even been able to watch the streams as of late. So this is completely new for me as I try to get into position.
So in first position on the LMP AM grid, it is once more, just according to tradition pretty much, it is Nilseman. And in second position, it is the RLA Racing teammate Ninja Karma, of course. So it's a 1-2 for the Master LM55 LMPs here in the AM class. For the LMPs, really strong qualifying from them. In third position, it is the car of Jim. I so believe it's the Peugeot of Jim there. It certainly is. And then in fourth position, of course, his teammate in the second Peugeot. It is a newcomer to this team, the Britannia Racing Peugeot number 2 of Snipperator. So nice to have Snip back full time here in the series, and quite a nice livery Jim has made there. And in the non-hybrid Audi TDI, it is of course Mr. Off Apple with Mika in the other Rotterdam Performance Audi, though it is the newer one, I should say the hybrid one, of kind of a team's theme on this grid.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's kind of interesting to see how you had these really nice looking identical team cars up front, and then further back you have this similarly looking car, but from the front here it's hard to tell because it's so dark that it is in fact on the same team. Very different looking cars, these ones, so close together. In the what is it, like 2 years apart? 1 year apart?
I think it's a little bit more. I think it's actually 2 or 3 years apart.
Yeah, a bit of a blunder. I can't quite remember how long it is, but not much from Audi. They're changing pretty much everything about the visual aesthetics of the car, at least.
And then of course lining out in the end of the LMP Pro class, it is also that lovely looking Martini Toyota of Gugas there. Of course Gugas running a split team with Armored Core in the Pro class in an identical car, and he did very well last weekend here, so it'll be interesting to see.
Very, very strong. That Toyota had, at least to me, quite a surprising turn of speed going down the straight. It seems like that's a car where you can definitely gain some speed by making some of the aero tweaks and stuff we do to the cars to gain some speed on these high-speed tracks.
It's certainly, with the right setup, the Toyota is really fast around here. And with the LMP grid done, let's move on to the GT3 grid. Of course, it is, and it is Armored Core. Now, having changed cars, he has moved away from the Vert first team and jumped to what I suppose is the Vert B team, which is a little bit weird since the Vert first team is now with only one driver for this race. But that does mean that Armored Core is racing in, at least on this circuit, the somewhat more competitive Toyota FT1 Vision Gran Turismo.
Somewhat more competitive might be a bit of an understatement. As far as I know, this is one of the best cars at high speed stuff, and even with low downforce, it still has a lot of grip. So from what I heard, I was certainly expecting it to be very, very fast, as it showed, setting quite a strong pole lap here in front of you guys in the Masters. It's
Joe of the Fire in second position, and then myself in third position in those two Master La Vista Tensors there. And then just behind us, it is of course CJ in that Wasp Beetle, in the Vert Beetle. And then it's the one of the two Astons, and that is of course the Aston of Stevie.
That's Stevie, of course, in front of me.
The reigning champion, a little bit further down the grid than we're used to seeing him.
Yeah, I felt good about coming to Tokyo in the Aston, but I think I kind of underestimated how hard it is to gain speed in that car. I felt like we did everything possible to gain speed, and at least compared to tracks where we run with more of a grip-oriented setup, we didn't gain as much speed as some of the other cars. Normally we beat the Masters out quite comfortably at top-line speed, but once you push everything out of it, you guys actually were going just as fast as we were.
We were going really fast down the straights. We were hitting 279 at the top. Anyways, behind Stevie it is Wake CU, and that also very lovely looking AMG Mercedes there. Such a nice car. Also a car that I had the joy of driving for the first time not so long ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then, a great car and a great looking livery as well here.
And it is of course the PlayStation by Nukeshot Motorsports team there. And then in the second Aston Martin it is of course number 42.
Yeah, that's me. I have the pleasure of commenting on a race where I start at the very back of the grid. Yay, me! As we fly through the grid here, getting ready to get it all off the start. What a great looking field we have here. I believe last week, was it the first round, we had a full lobby?
It was
not the best track to have a full lobby on, but,
no, but
it was certainly action-packed. Let's see if this one's any quieter.
So with the grid walk done, I suppose it is time to get the action underway. At least I'm just gonna do that tab, and then the formation lap. Of course, it's time for, and of course, it's gonna take, just like last week, it's gonna take quite a while getting the cars around here, so and we were just didn't get the chat window back after looking at the point scores, so which means that I didn't see that CJ was actually mentioning that it's 2011 TDI and it is the 2016 so it's 5 years.
5 years. Yeah, I realized pretty much as soon as I said that it actually probably was a longer period of time. Still though, trying to salvage what could remain of the point I tried to make. They are very different looking cars.
They are very much different. It looks like two completely different cars, and the fact that they share the same name, well, I put it on the same kind of line as two Toyota Corollas that are 10 years apart, looking quite different, but shares the same name, or even more. They are quite different, actually.
Yeah, not many parts shared between those two cars, I don't think.
As we have Armored Core noting in chat that he just loves the sound of those LM55, those rotary masters. I mean, who doesn't? They do sound amazing. And actually, especially here at low speed, we actually really get to enjoy the fullness of the engine note, the tone.
Yeah, absolutely. Higher up in the rev range, and when you're flat out, it's more it's more of a basic scream, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
But there's some subtle notes when you're just cruising around that's really enjoyable. What a great sounding engine. Let's hope the rumors, they come and go. Let's hope the rumors are true that Master will eventually bring back a rotary engine.
But that would be absolutely amazing if they choose actually to do so. I mean, who wouldn't love to hear such a race, such an engine racing at Le Mans, for instance? A real little burp. Sorry about that. Anyways, the track here, Tokyo Expressway, this weird highway track here, it's normally with city circuits you'd expect, or you kind of associate them with being slow pace, lots of 90-degree turns.
Exactly, and this is the complete opposite. It's the only proper city course we have on the calendar this year, but it's one of the fastest paced courses we have as well. So, and that's what I said earlier about the walls being incredibly close. It's not really that they're that close; they just come at you at really high speeds.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult because you're going full hammer and toms. A lot of these cars have no downforce. Their ride height is completely slammed, and still the walls are right there. There's no way to make any kind of mistake, especially in the LMPs that basically break if you cough on them.
Yeah, the LMPs were so difficult, and also just because the speeds you're traveling at, taking some of these corners and having to do so with such precision at speeds around 300 kilometers an hour, that is, it's a difficult track to say the least. It's very, very hard to get right. It's also a track that's very rewarding in turn when you get it right. But one thing I would mention is that it actually has some pretty good overtaking opportunities. Of course, with that 2-kilometer front straight, and of course, last hairpin and turns 1 and 2 are both excellent opportunities for overtaking.
Absolutely, and nice wide roads before them, so there's a lot of opportunities to change positions, and that's what we saw last week. I expect to see it again here as we're getting up to the start.
It is time to get the LMPs on the way, and as tradition will have it, it is Nilseman's decision when to go full gas. He needs to get past that pit entry, and from there, of course, we'll have to remember that overtake before the start-finish line. And we've had a little bit of problems with that, especially here at this circuit.
Here he does wait. He waits quite a bit. Here it goes, though.
Here it goes, and it is Jim taking second position right from the off, and off Apple moving up there. And Ninja Karma getting a horrible start there. Indeed, he is all the way to the back of the LMP field at the moment as they just bunch up, coming down towards turn 1. It is Jim leading in the Peugeot now in front of Nielsen, but Nielsen's up the inside. And he has company on the outside. That is, of course, Snipperator in the second Peugeot. And Nielsen gets away with the lead there through turn 1. Oh, and a little bit of contact there. Ninja Karma,
what a resurgence from him. Side by side with Jim coming down here. I do believe it's time to have a look if we want to see the... Not just yet. Let's go back here because this is happening all at once here in the LMP field.
Well, let's...
Just a bit of a split there behind Snipperator.
Oh, a little bit of a touch of the wall.
Lucas has a bit of space to make up.
Off Apple also just scraping the wall there. Nilsson flying.
Look at that gap he built up. Almost immediately he has 5, 6, 7 car lengths.
And maybe we should take a look at the perfect timing there of the camera work. Just looking at how Armored Core gets a good jump there. With Joe up the fire in second position. Now it's CJ up into third. It's myself getting a really bad start in turns now. Getting pressured from both the Astons. A little bit more of an orderly start here it seems than in the LMP. Not the same kind of bunching up.
Joe got a great slipstream on Armored Core in the Toyota there. And he's right alongside coming into the corner. He picks the outside though. Will that work out for him?
Let's see there, it's a tight squeeze through turn 1, but it seems like everyone has made it. Armored Core getting cleanly away with Joe up the fire. CJ and myself in fourth position now. Getting under pressure from yourself now, overtaking there.
Yeah, just coming along, following Stevie along in the slipstream past you there, and that's Looking nice for the Astons at the moment. We're a bit far back, but at least we got through the first few corners cleanly.
You're coming into the first chicane. S-Ben's there. Let's take a look at the LMPs there just to see how they get. Oh, Ninja Karma has a bit of a heavy contact with the wall there. Might have a little damage. We'll have to see if he comes in for the pits. Gugus is up into 5th position there. Mika having had some bad luck, it seems, upon the first lap.
He has a bit of a gap to make up already. That's gotta be stressful for him.
Certainly has to. Now it's Joe of the Fire we're following. He is already under pressure from CJ. CJ in turn, he has to keep that slipstream because the Beetle is not strong on top speed. However, it's really strong through that middle sector with the high speed turns.
Yeah, him choosing to go out of the slipstream there indicates that he decided to wait and not try to make a move past Joe of the Fire just yet. He might be looking to make sure that he gets the perfect slipstream coming down the straight because he knows that Toyota is flying. If he doesn't do something, it's going to be gone very quickly.
Exactly, it is. You just see the advantage being pulled out already from Armored Core Toyota, getting a great run there and actually threatening just to break the slipstream of Joe of the Fire. And now CJ making a move up
back.
there.
You're trying to get positions back on the boat, on the Stevie.
It's actually Wake and you.
Wake and myself.
And now it looks like a 3-way scrap coming down to turn 1. It'll be interesting to see if there's any order because this is the bunching up that we were talking about.
Changing positions 4 times, 5 times. I'm behind Wake, he's alongside you, and I have to look on the inside
as we go 3 wide coming into turn 1. Oh, what's gonna happen here? Wake seems to get the longest straw there on the outside. Oh, a little touch.
Fuck you, co-commentator.
And there is contact between the two of us.
That means damage for the entire Half the Race Gone team. Fortunately, we're not on the same team here.
No, it makes it a little bit less dramatic.
Sorry, mate, that wasn't the best of driving. No. When you see it in a proper replay, you can see that it's not just me slamming into him. It's a bit of an unfortunate situation.
I saw it in the replay also.
If I was to place blame, I'd place it on myself. Sorry about that.
Nah, no problem. It's just a racing incident. It's what happens when you're racing closely.
Look at some guys that don't hit each other all the time. Further up, we have Gugus. He's followed closely by Apple here.
Really interesting to see if Gugus can actually hold him off when they get to the back straight.
Yeah, that... Can't believe how quickly the first round of traffic comes up here. Snipperator's already blasting through the back of the GT3 field here, and he's in 4th and has a bit of a gap up to the front runners. Let's see how they're doing.
Oh, Nilseman already on his way through there.
Tiny bit of contact there between Nilseman and Stevie.
Oh, and we know how difficult it is for the LMPs to overtake in certain parts of this track, as we found out for ourselves last week. It is quite the horror if you.
This is definitely the track where the LMPs need to be the most patient compared to a lot of the other tracks where you're able to sort of force your way through as long as you're careful about it. There's a lot of sections here where there's not really much you can do unless you want to kiss a wall.
Very much so, very much so. Nilseman seemingly just having made his way all the way through there. Ninja Karma closely following him in 2nd position. There's Jim still in the podium position, but down into 3rd now with his teammate Snipperator in 4th. Off Apple now having passed Gugus. And that
Jin seemed to get through the traffic quite quickly though. He's very close still and made nice work of the last few GT3 cars to deal with for a few laps at least.
But I think Jim has shown a very good pace since he joined the series once more, rejoined the series, an old member of the Nukeshot community coming back to life and racing very well here, so it's super nice to see even more competitiveness being fed into the AM class here.
Yeah, the AM class has been providing really good entertainment for the last few races, and it seems to be on a constant upwards gradient all through the season.
Very much
really
so.
Enjoying that, very much.
Very much so indeed. Also just looking at the chat, a couple of mentions about us getting demonetized. Well, it's hard getting demonetized when you haven't gotten monetized in the first place.
Yeah, demonetization requires prior monetization.
Which hasn't happened yet. That has yet to happen. It might happen someday. I don't know.
Calm your tits.
Calm your tits, Dirten. Anyways. Oh, yeah. Joe of the Fire mentioning that he hopes this track returns for next season's calendar. And I must admit, I kind of for you that one?
Yeah, I really wasn't looking forward to it coming into it, to be honest. I was kind of ticked off about it, but I had a great time, even though I messed up more than I probably did in the rest of the season so far. But it's such a nice track, and it's such a nice shaking up of the sometimes a bit of a set order of things we have, it can get a bit routine almost, and this is definitely something else.
It's very much been something different, and I found out that the hard way last weekend. I was really hoping to have a better race here today. Now we see CJ going up the outside of Joe of the Fire, coming down towards turn 1. So it'll be interesting to see if he can actually pull off this move.
Great defending from Joe there, picking the more defensive line.
Oh yeah, but look at the exit
so
speed
fast.
of that
Picking
beetle.
up speed there. It gets in front.
Flying out of turn 1 there, CJ, strong work, and now up into second position. So really strong. And CJ also making a good point in chat that we should probably have a look at the south layout that's going to be revealed here on December 5th, coming in the next update for the game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see what PD comes up with this time.
Certainly.
I gotta say, I've really been enjoying the updates the last few times as well. Good job to the whole team there, because it's been some nice additions. It's been varied, it's been cool. We're talking about everything else but the race here at Race Gone today.
It's not even that boring yet. We have Stevie. He is in 4th position in class and a little bit of on an island actually here at the moment. And he will certainly be hoping to get more speed out of that Aston. Wake, see you in 5th position in class. And then it is Danish Dynamite times 2.
Touching the wall once.
A little scrape of the wall there.
As you can see by my lap times, I've had a horrible time of it. The damage I got from hitting you was much greater than you could have hoped for, and I'm out of it. Let's see how the faster guys are doing.
So it's Ninja Karma having taken the lead from Nilseman. Nilseman must have had some kind of problem. Let's see, just looking at the behavior of his car, it does look like it's swerving quite a bit compared to the car of Ninja Karma. It actually is quite visible that he's having to micro steer the car pretty much all the time. So looking like some kind of suspension damage there for Ninja.
It even seems to be bouncing about, so I think that's quite heavy for him at the moment. He's doing a good job of hanging on. Ninja Karma, that's 2 times the resurgent racer here already, and we're only 13 minutes in.
It was quite incredible to see him actually be last on the starting second,
Straight
then
up.
down to last, and then coming out of turn 2, all of a sudden he was second again.
Yeah.
That was quite incredible to see. Snipperator now having made his way up into 3rd position. Jim, he's down into 6th, so of course he must have had some kind of problem, probably some kind of premature pit stop there with Apple following him still closely up into 5th.
Closely behind there. For a moment it looked like Apple was trying to get past, but at the moment Gugas seems to be setting some great lap times, and he's having to recover a bit here.
And those two quite certainly close indeed, those two. Yeah, Jim having lost some time there on the pit stop. He had the speed before, and the Peugeot is very, very fast on the top speed here in the straight line. It's able to reach, I mean, they were talking about speeds of almost 370 kilometers an hour in the slipstream. So
that's a good thing to have in your toolkit for racing in Tokyo. I'd definitely say a top speed of 370 is one of the things you want.
Yeah,
if you can choose it.
The straight here is also actually longer than any straight at Le Mans after the chicanes were introduced. So it is the longest straight of the calendar.
Yeah, and it is a long boy as well, I gotta say. It does feel very long.
It certainly does. I had a cup of coffee for the race because I knew after
there was time to eat, there was time to drink. There's also time to talk about a lot of other stuff than racing. Let's see what's going on. As we were expecting, and as we saw in qualifying, that Toyota FT1, it's got some pace in it.
It certainly does. It is just gone pretty much out and away in front.
Setting 2:57 laps in race pace is very strong, you see.
Especially here on the first stint with max fuel, or when the car is heaviest.
He didn't get cleanly away either. He was battling for a little while, and that cost some tires and stuff, and still he's setting lap times far below what I was ever getting close to.
Ahmad Core, but to be fair, also it shows that he's on a fast car, but he has also been going.
Oh, absolutely! I didn't want it to make a point about how the car was OP or anything. It's just that he's very, very fast here.
Yeah.
Way beyond anything I could ever hope to get close to. So even though I had incidents, that probably didn't even matter that much.
But Ahmad Khor has been picking up wins in the LMP class. He's been picking up wins as well in the Super GT Championship.
Yeah, he's been doing really well. And
racing in the GT 500 class there. And now it is CJ
having
some
touch
kind
on the wall there.
contact there with the wall.
Perhaps
CJ
we should just leave the camera on these guys, because it seems like this is where all the action is at the moment.
It certainly is, and I think these two guys will just be glued together, as we've seen sometimes in the LMP class as well. CJ mentioning that he had no damage after that touch of the wall, so a well-built Volkswagen there indeed.
Yeah, but that's definitely also a difference between the GT3 cars and the LMP cars. And the GT3 cars, you are able to touch the wall on occasion without getting damage, which is good, I think. You want to push it a bit more in those cars than you do in the LMPs.
Indeed.
It gives you a bit more of a chance to have some proper racing, which those cars allow compared to the LMPs. So that's good. He did lose a bit of time here. Let's see how quickly he's able to make that up. He's not completely out of the slipstream yet. That's good.
That is really strong work.
You see
from
Stevie
CJ.
just lurking in the background there as well.
Stevie's not really having lost that much time and is setting some very consistent lap times as well. And it's true that CJ is just within that souk at the moment. And it is just about breaking that slipstream. As up in front we see CJ now moving up into the inside of Joe of the Fire. So Joe of the Fire might try to reverse the taxis, but CJ just making the clean pass on the straight itself. Joe of the Fire maybe not wanting to do too much fighting because...
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was trying to defend too hard there, and that could be because he knows what happens along the rest of the course. You see he's looking to the outside here. Is he going to make that stick? Seems a bit exotic to me. Oh, it becomes the inside for the bridge. CJ has to hold off and does. Great driving from Joe there. He recognized that was the dynamic. Last time he was passed in a similar situation and played it off coolly and cleverly and just let the cars do their thing. Great racing.
Apple noting that Nils is in the pits at the moment. He's just come out from his, I guess it's his first stop.
Pew, there he is.
And in 5th position now. And having made the stop a little bit early, but probably just wanting to get rid of some damage there.
That leaves Ninja Karma up front. He has quite a bit of a margin down to P2 at the moment. That's Snipperator.
But big margins or close margins, we know that anything can pretty much happen here at Tokyo Expressway, and it usually does. So nothing is certain yet, especially not with these LMP cars. Certainly are a little bit difficult there. Mika now passed Apple as well. And Gugas in 3rd position in that Toyota. Now with Jim close by.
Yes, Jim for company coming down the straight here. That's a Peugeot against the Toyota. I'd expect the Peugeot to make up a bit of that gap here. He's almost in the slipstream already.
And you see just on any short to medium straight that Toyota is going to beat pretty much anything. But as soon as the Peugeot gets up to speed, there is just no stopping the diesel power of that car, as you see.
He even flashes. That's how fast he knows he's going here.
It looks like...
Oh, got past cleanly even before the braking zone. That's the speed difference of those cars.
Oh, as he goes...
Just holds it. I didn't even see any sparks.
There was a little bit of sparks, I think.
Stuck on the outside here, though, and that's going to leave the Toyota to make that insane acceleration it does.
But he's certainly not
back in front here.
He's not rid of Jim yet. Jim's still really close.
Not at all.
And
getting back on that racing line, looking very, very planted, actually, I have to say, as opposed to Gugas.
Oh, Gugas hitting the wall there! Gugas must have gotten some damage from that one because it's a heavy impact. And that kind of settles this. Jim just making Gugas buckle under the pressure there. Might have been lucky timing actually for Gugas. Just in time for the pit stop round here, around the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, if you want to hit the wall, he certainly picked a good time to do so. We were both probably expecting him to... He was probably going to pit this lap anyway, so
Yeah.
best
Oh,
time to hit it.
did it look like Mika actually hit the wall?
Can I find
when going
fire
through
button?
there?
Looks to be doing okay to me.
Looks to be doing just fine. And let's hope he is. Off Apple in 7th position now. Snipperator into the pits. And he seems to be one of the only LMPs that hasn't really had any kind of damage trouble yet.
No, he looks to be very steady. Also on his lap times, you can see he's setting a very steady, consistent pace, as he's been known for doing in his, as far as I know, most of his career, and certainly this season since his comeback. He's been hard to beat if his pace matches yours because he makes no mistakes.
He makes very few mistakes, the German, and coming out of the pits in 3rd position still. So it might also be a viable strategy for him if he can just keep his composure.
Yep, coming out in 3rd is very strong here.
And that is myself, so a former teammate overtaking, also seeing that. No kind of panicky moves, just holding back, waiting to his chance, and then as soon as he can get past.
Common understanding there, he held off until it was possible to find the proper gap. He didn't even flash, and you see he's flashing.
Yeah.
He's flashing me already, is that me?
I think it is Stevie. That's Stevie up in front there. And now getting cleanly by. Also, it's actually pretty much the only place in the middle sector where you can actually overtake Mr. Place, just where Snip caught up. So nice timing there. Having a look at defending champion Stevie, who doesn't seem to have the pace that he usually has because he is an all-destroying driver.
Yeah.
Usually he just eats them in.
I'd say 59s is a very good pace in our car for this track, at least when you compare the both. We weren't running the same setup, but it was very similar.
Definitely so.
I'd be very happy with 59s, even low 59s. I certainly wasn't setting that even without the damage today. So he's trying as hard as he can, but it just doesn't seem to be enough.
You guys certainly did look to be struggling a little bit with the car as Joe of the Fire pits in here for his scheduled first stop. And Stevie follows him in as well.
Yeah.
And I follow in as well also for my first stop. So a bit of a pit stop round here for the GTs. Some fuel going on there for Joe of the Fire. Wake is a bit away behind.
Wake has had a pit stop a few laps ago, so he won't be pitting.
That is true. He will be coming up now.
Every one of you seems to be getting out ahead, except for you. You get out ahead, but you're moving slowly.
I'm moving very slowly, and Wake just having had the slipstream off Apple there. And certainly he's going to pass me. Not a chance. There it is, so that's not optimal for me with Wake effectively deploying at least a momentarily undercut there, but the thing is that his pit stop might have been so soon that he will have to pit twice.
Absolutely, and it came quite a few laps ago, so it won't be many laps until there's a bit of a pace difference, at least according to the tires, so even that might play into your hands. As we see, you just devour that gap up to him.
There is an interesting battle, and it is for P5 in class at the moment between Wake CU in the AMG Mercedes and myself in the Mazda La Vista Atenza. And as we come down through the first S's and down into the fast right sweeper there, even in these GT3 cars it is absolutely full out here, and just a little lift there over the crest and then on the power. As you see, I get a better run than Wake here, but I'm not able to put any kind of move in here. There is just one racing line through this part of the track. And I think you might just see me tugging in at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit far back to make any move coming down here, I think.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Certainly also a fast car coming down the straight in the GT3 class, so it's hard to just blast up alongside and make a braking move there.
But this might be it now. We're looking at...
There's been a bit of a rotation, I believe.
It certainly has. Ninja Karma in second position now, with Jim in the lead and Snipperator in third position. And Nils is up into fourth. Gugas is still fifth, with Mika now up into sixth position and off Apple into seventh position. So yeah, there has been a little bit of a switch up in the LMP AM class there. Gugas has a little touch and then a bigger touch there. So that might be damage once more for Gugas. As CJ completed his first stop, he was the one of the longest running GTs. And he is out behind Joe of the Fire now. So in third position, but not a long way back. And he will have a slight tire advantage.
Yep.
Over Joe of the Fire and everybody else in turn also. Armored Core noting that he's been hit by Gugas and scraping down the wall there, so a problem for the leader in the GT Pro class as Armored Core has... Does he have damage? It seems like he could have damage. And is he going to be pitting in? It's going to be interesting to see whether he can carry on or not. No, he is pitting in, and let's see how much that advantage will play for. But Armored Core on the soft tires has yet to pit in, I think. So he's pitting in for the first time. CJ is mentioning my internetforbindelse, som ikke er tilstrækkelig kvalitet til at streame i øjeblikket. And there you got a little bit of Danish.
I think this Christmas there would be an audio clip of CJ attempting to read out that message we get. Can we have that for Christmas, please? I would enjoy that so
Santa
much.
Claus. Santa
Claus, I've been good on you all year. Can I have just this one thing?
Nah.
The Armored Core, he gets out.
Still in the lead. But also due to not having pitted, I think, until now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been setting a very, very fast pace on the soft tires, trying to go for a one-stop, and I guess maybe because he was hit this lap, he pits early.
Yeah.
So that's incredibly scary, to be honest, to see the pace he's setting on a one-stopper, because I certainly wasn't able to do that.
Armored Core mentioning in chat that he didn't fix the damage.
Armored Core be feeling so supreme here today that he decides to give everyone else a chance by not even repairing his damage once he gets it. Impressive stuff from the American here.
The 16-year-old American,
The
should I say, young American, doing very well. So you have to say that the Vert team has really done a great job of picking out this young talent, this bud and growth.
The Lando Norris of the NES, if you can say that.
And we have off Apple noting that we are getting close to a mark that I will not say we're at yet.
Is that a spoiler? Is that a spoiler, Apple?
Apple, is that
Apple, I believe that's a spoiler. Don't spoil the half the race gone marker. Delete that comment instantly, Apple.
Oh, and F's out in chat for Gugas, who has disconnected.
Oh.
He has disconnected, and that was an honest disconnect.
Yeah.
Oh.
Brutal stuff. It's the closest thing we have to spontaneous mechanical failures, and you got a feel for a guy that's been doing well all the way through the race, and then suddenly has this odd, like a huge transmission blowout. I feel bad for the guy.
Most certainly.
We've been struggling at the just the two of us team as well with internet connections, and I've just been trying to calm myself by saying that that's merely the engine provider or something similar. We have that fixed now. We were hoping to do well. Disappointing to see how we're getting on so far, but let's see if a miraculous comeback appears. That's not a spoiler.
That's not a spoiler indeed. And off Apple is making his way through now. Or he actually isn't, because the only reason he's up into 6th position in class is because of the DQ or the DC of Gugas. Of course, no DQs mid-race here.
Absolutely strong racing from Apple there, having a proper internet connection. Great move from him.
And now Joe of the Fire is leading in the GT class. Armored Core, I might suspect that he's been in the pits to fix that damage.
Yeah, an additional pit stop was in order for young Lando Norris here.
And as we have reached the half the race gone marker by pure tradition.
If you didn't already know it.
As we have plenty of noticings in chat. It's great to see you're vigilant, especially when we're not ourselves. So Armored Core having a little bit of trouble here and also getting a little aggressively overtaken by one of the masters there. Didn't exactly see which one of them is, but
that was Ninja Karma. I was gonna say I'd be guessing that it was Nilsman because he has some time to make up after that. He had such a strong, confident start as we've seen him have so many times this season, but he's struggling here a little bit.
Yeah, Nilse hasn't had the race that we're used to seeing Nilse have. I mean, he is just like Snip, basically. And I've heard rumors that he does practice sessions of 4 hours, 3 hours sometimes.
Wow.
I don't know if it's true.
I don't have a combined practice time for a round of this of 3 hours or 4 hours.
Ninja Karma, the French monster wanting to kill the GT cars. I'm going holding in chat a little bit offensively, I guess.
Yeah, but Ninja Karma, man, he was incredibly fast here today. The way he gained up, he made up places in like three places in one corner in the beginning, and he's shown all race today that he's probably the fastest guy here today. I wonder what happened during qualifying because his 1 lap pace is blistering today.
He seems to be going very well, but not far behind. It is the ever consistent sneaking German of Snipperator just flying under the radar there in 2nd position with teammate Jim in 3rd position. Now we have a little bit of silence going on. You might be able to hear that actually through that mic outside.
Yeah, of course we're not quite sure about the audio quality running with a much improved microphone here, but the sounds of Copenhagen might be getting through it a bit, even with the high-tech wind caps we're running on the microphone. We don't know about that. We'll see once it gets out. Hope it's not too much of an issue for you.
I know Trout has taken a picture of my high-tech wind cap, so you might get to see it in the NES chat or maybe in the Half the Race Gone Discord. Actually, it might be just a good time to advertise that a little bit, that we have a Discord server running. We have a link in the description of the video.
We do?
We do have a Discord server.
That's cool.
I've made one.
Wow, I've joined it.
And it has sections for all the different series that we're transmitting. It has a suggestions section for, well, any suggestions or feedbacks, things we do good, things we do bad, or whatever, as long as it's constructive. And yeah.
So run right in and connect with that stuff online, guys. That's pretty cool.
Mika, strong one, having made his way back up into 5th position. He's now hunting Nilsman in front. Getting a good run of Slipstream. And getting a good run of Soup there and going around the outside of that master. And that is myself. And you see me flashing my lights.
Yeah, just
why did you do that? Why did you go around that way?
Completely senseless murder of that young innocent cone obviously upset you, and you tried to protest as much as possible, but the speed of that Audi means that he's gone before he even realizes the moral implications of his actions.
If it was the Super GT, we might have Mr. Orange Jacking handing out driver moral hazard penalties.
Oh yeah, the driver moral hazard penalties. Don't tell the NES moderators about that one. Just yet.
No, and Mika saying sorry in chat, of course, it's no problem whatsoever. Here, Joe of the Fire. He is still looking strong. He is leading the class, as we've seen him do many times before. CJ, though, close behind.
Even closer behind his Armored Core.
Of course, Armored Core.
He's been making up some of the gap. He's not quite on the pace we saw mid-stint, but I think this is a very fast lap. He's made up all the time and is right in the slipstream. And let's see how he deals with the Mad Greek here.
I think he's just gonna get in that slipstream, and then we're gonna see the superior pace of the Toyota FT1 compared to that Beetle.
I don't expect the Beetle to be able to do much here. I saw Joe talking about the shape of cars, and looking at the Beetle, I think CJ might be the one with the most right to complain about the shape of the car, because that's not an aerodynamic shape at all. As we see, even in the bottom of the tunnel he passes here, that's quite early to get it done for the GT3 cars.
And let's see if CJ can stay in the slipstream even. He looks...
Seems like he just caught on at the last moment there, and is
but he's not
able to follow along.
But like you were at some point early in the race with me, I overtook you, and then you came right back and overtook me at the end of the straight. This is certainly not happening in the Beetle against that Toyota.
Nope.
He just manages to keep the slipstream, and that's about it.
We saw Apple there making a ping pit stop.
And he is out now in 6th position again. Nilsman is in 5th position now, so Mika up in 4th.
Would appear that Nilsman had another pit stop there. He's on his out lap.
It certainly is. He had a 2:05 on last lap, so well spotted there. And also coming close to the last 20 minutes, 24, 23 minutes left of the race. Snipperator still in 2nd position. And it won't take many mistakes, because the next car he has in front of him is the car of Ninja Karma, and the gap at the moment is not all that big. I mean, we're talking just about 8 seconds or something like that. So a single mistake really from Ninja Karma around here, and it'll play into the hands of Snipperator if he can keep it running just as he's done so far. See those very consistent lap times. Is Armored Core now battling with CJ, getting back there. CJ's still there.
Seems to be just a bit closer than he was before.
Flashing
He's
going on.
Be securely in the slipstream coming down the straight here, is he? I believe so.
Mika saying you should never say bang again.
I agree, Mika. I agree. I won't ever do it again.
Promise. So far we haven't had anyone hit the pit wall yet this race.
Oh yeah, that's a vast improvement on last race. Yeah, that was probably one of the better incidents of the season so far, is having two cars smash into the pit wall
and then even
coming through the tunnel.
Two identical cars,
two identical incidents. It is a bit of a silly mistake to
is CJ going to be able to make that cutback coming out of turn 1? Not really, maybe out of turn 2.
Touches the wall, but I don't think that's enough.
No, but CJ does get the better run, as you see here. And now there's a little bit of slipstream. I think that's Nilsman coming around the outside.
Joe's move from earlier, not able to do so. It's too fast. He's
of course just cuts him off there.
Insistent from CJ there, but he did get cut off in the end.
But we know when CJ goes for a move, he is usually goes for the move. And if he's allowed, and I think Armored Core knew that if he allowed him the space up there, it would be battle over.
Yeah, absolutely. Looked like hard but fair racing to me. Might have scared a tiny bit of poo out of CJ there, but I wouldn't put that past myself to have the same experience.
So Armored Core now in 2nd position and quickly closing up to Joe of the Fire in front. That gap has been diminishing very, very rapidly indeed.
Yeah, Joe of the Fire on a very fast pace, doing everything he can, but now the American young Lando Norris here has the opening. He has some open air coming down the straight. He's gonna be just killing that gap coming down here.
Just demonstrating the straight line speed of the Toyota FT1. Right behind it is, of course, CJ just clinging on.
Kudos to him for hanging on for this long, because it seems touch and go coming down every straight, but he's right where he needs to be at the beginning of it. And
but, you know, CJ, I have to give him that all through this race, he has been able to take a car that really isn't built for this track, and he's gotten the absolute best out of it.
Yeah.
And he is still right up there in contention in that three-way scrap for the lead, pretty much.
See the
it
gap,
could go anyway. It's all within a couple of seconds between 1, 2, and 3 in the LMP Pro class. As we have
Apple out there just making his move on the outside, then on the inside coming past Joe there. It's nice racing.
Very nice racing. It's a horrible place to have to overtake the traffic there. I've mentioned it before, but that middle sector is just... Oh, yeah. It's horrible.
He's right on the bumper now. Armored Core is he on Joe of the Fire. It's
getting really close there. Here. And it is too also Joe noticing that, or noting in chat that it is really important for CJ's race in general to stay within that slipstream.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely, I agree.
you just have to say that the Greek has been doing an absolutely fantastic job to still be in contention at this moment of the race.
Armored Core making the move already there. I wasn't actually quite expecting that. I was expecting him to...
But that was a textbook move through the last hairpin there.
Just maintain the grip. Joe is looking for the cutback there. That's not going to work, I don't think.
No, they're pretty much
side by side. Great synchronization on the side by side. It's still side by side.
It is still side by side.
Continuing to be side by side.
It's still side by side. It is no longer side by side as Armored Core pulls into the
three-way battle this is turning out to be.
And CJ
is still right there.
CJ actually
the addition of the extra car in the slipstream is going to help him, and he's going to be able to pick up just a bit more speed.
CJ was absolutely the winner of that battle because they were having a drag race, Joe and Armored Core, and all the while he was getting the slipstream just where he wanted it to because there were two cars right beside each other. So, there's a little bit.
Who's that coming up? It's one of the masters. Is it the leader? It is the leader, Ninja Karma. Good time to go past though, to be honest. It's scary as all hell, but it works. It's one of the places where you can actually get past without taking too many risks. Just doesn't feel all that safe. We're gonna stay focused on this battle for the lead in the GT3
because it's really
intense. What a battle it is!
It is a fantastic battle at the moment here. We have three cars within a couple of tenths. I'd say they're all within half a second.
This
some of the closest
stuff.
Fantastic stuff as they come through the second S. And
I'm holding my breath instead of speaking because
down
it's
towards
so
the hairpin is really tense.
The gap is just building a tiny bit here down the straight. He got a great exit, did Armored Core, and
Armored Core without any ballast, I think, in the GTs. So that might be what's also helping him out. Now Joe of the Fire looking to get a good exit, but this has really seemed like one of the strong points of that Toyota, and you can just see it.
Yeah, not even a strong point of the Toyota so much. It is, as I'd say, it's Armored Core doing great work, making sure to get that traction down. You see he's picking a slightly wider line than the other guys, just to make sure that he has that traction on the rear wheels.
And Joe of the Fire
dives into the pits there.
That is his last pit stop, so he's just
wanted that line.
He is hoping. I'm sorry. He's hoping to. He's hoping to undercut these two drivers. Of course, it will be difficult to undercut CJ because on this lap, CJ will have the advantage of that absolute powerful slipstream, and he will gain much time compared to what he would do if he was driving around alone.
Absolutely the right decision from the Greek there, and you see he's doing a great job on the braking zone, making up as much as he can. He just touches the wall there.
Oh, so
that's not gonna help him too much.
Was
there a tiny touch coming out as well? He's still there though.
Oh, and in the background we have a touch of the wall from one of the LMPs.
Oh, that's heavy damage. And was that another DNF there?
I think that is a DNF from Jim. Oh, my.
Apparently a complete loss on that car, and he has to quit the race.
He'd been going strong for quite a while actually this race, so it's a shame to see him DNF.
Yeah, always a shame to see someone DNF, of course, but when it happens, it always hurts just that bit more.
Exactly. Off Apple. He's in 5th position, of course, now.
CJ still in the slipstream. In spite of dealing with that traffic, you saw him. He had to stay on the inside to let that LMP car pass, and then Armored Core picked the outside, and that left CJ out of the slipstream. But he's still right there,
just having a look into the hairpin, but
gaining everything he lost on the braking.
Trying to focus on the exit here, and just having a little slidey moment.
Tiny bit of understeer as well for the American, so it's still neck and neck here. He's still in the slipstream.
But CJ getting saved by the fact that the Beetle does have great acceleration, so he's able to stay with the car in front.
I bet you he's debating whether to stay out for another lap. He ends up deciding to go into the pit. Yeah, he was pushing for more than 5 minutes already past his pit window.
Yeah.
But I'll bet you he was debating it because that, as you said, it's such an advantage being in that super powerful slipstream. Let's see how that works out in relation to Joe of the Fire in what appears at the moment to be the battle for P2 in the GT3 Pro class.
It certainly looks like that because Armored Core, well, I'm not even sure Armored Core is going to pit again.
As we saw just a tiny frustrated flash from Joe of the Fire as he realized that CJ would be getting out of the pits with quite a margin.
But that was the difference on that slipstream, and a very fast lap and a very short pit stop also, I think, from CJ, being able to save fuel. There is some flashing from Joe of the Fire, just saying, hey, I'm coming to get you.
Mind games.
But it was, of course,
P10. Shout out to my homeboy Stevie. He's been having quite a frustrating race here up until this point. We haven't been able to catch much of it. There's simply so much going on here. I know we say that a lot, but I think you will agree that at Tokyo everything is turned up to 11. So here it's even harder to maintain a complete overlook of everything that's happening.
It is the Spinal Tap of racetracks.
It certainly is the Japanese Spinal Tap of the NES. That's for damn sure.
Wake CU, he is in 6th position in class, with Stevie, of course, being in 5th. Now Ninja Comet coming in for a late pit stop, and that certainly looks like damage because there is no tires going on, and that leaves Snipperator in the lead of the race now with only 12.5 minutes to go.
What a turn of events here. This is not a guy you fear too much for as far as squandering a lead late on in the race. And he has one heck of a lead here.
You know, last time he was presented with such a situation late in a race was on Dragon Trail, and he actually went on to win that race. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him doing that again. Ninja Karma, he is not far behind. We're talking a gap of 6 seconds approximately. And Armored Core now in the pit, so Armored Core had still to make one pit stop, but also it being a very short pit stop, he is out in front of CJ. And looking with, he's with a hell of an advantage.
He's continuing to set very fast lap times as well. I want to point that out, setting very fast lap times up until the end. So even as he was coming to the end of that stint, he didn't lose too much time. Perhaps he realized that he had a considerable enough of a gap to pit for fresh tires and really cement that lead on some faster tires. He was running softs all the way through the race, I believe.
Yeah.
At least for his first 2 stints. So it would be a smart move if he recognized that the gap was large enough to just pit for some supers and go all out right here towards the line.
But also something I'd like to note is that his pit lap time was 9 seconds shorter than the one Joe of the Fire had. And CJ's is even longer also, as you see with the 2:13. Joe of the, Armored Core with a 2:09 on that pit-in lap.
Yeah.
So a really short stop there from Armored Core. That also might explain some of it, because it still looks to be closing up ever so slightly in behind with CJ and Joe of the Fire. Snipperator still in the lead, and Mika, but Mika is now up into 3rd position. Mika, who's been behind by a good margin for most of the race, has just been kept on digging at it, and now he's looking at a podium place here. So really, really, really strong one here from Mika today. Ninja Karma noting in chat that he has damage, or maybe just has had damage. He might have more damage, and if that is the case, well, he's on.
I don't imagine you'll be able to set the fastest time through Sector 2 with damage. So if he had damage, he probably...
I don't think it is. I think it was a rest in peace to...
He had a pit stop on lap 24, I think. PD, can you please fix the...
I think they did.
I feel like...
I actually think they did.
You say that, but
I think they did so with the tire stuff that they also fixed.
Either way, Ninja Karma continuing to set an absolute... on fire a lap here. I think there's quite a bit of a chance that this is going to be the fastest lap of the race here, because he was almost 5/10 up.
Indeed,
coming past Sector 3. Let's see how he does here.
He's getting an absolute hammer for it right now.
He lost quite a bit of time in the last corner there.
Not
3 1,000ths of a difference here to the last lap, so that's probably not going to be enough.
It is gonna be interesting to see.
And just because I
So that was the fastest one by 26 hundredths of a second. Joe of the Fire, they're noting that they only fixed the tires. And Joe, I think Joe, he's earned himself a nickname as well. And shall henceforth be known as the Professor. Because he always knows. And he's really meticulous also about planning, practice, car setups, and all kinds. He just seems to be in the know all the time. So, the Professor it is. Now,
the battle for P2 continues to develop here. The gap has been ever decreasing since CJ got out of the pits.
The newly christened
due to
Professor.
The straight sapping flashing from the Brit as he came out of the pits. Either way, it's gonna be very close here. Oh, just a bit of a squirm from Joe of the Fire coming out the last corner there. That's not gonna help him. He is in a bit of the slipstream, and he is the faster car coming down the straight, so I'd expect it to be close by the braking zone. The Beetle Wasp there, such a nice looking, clean looking livery, not too many colors on it, very nice. It's not enough to help him, protect him from that master. That on fire master though, it gets the job done coming up the hill, which is also actually quite early to have a downforce move take place in a little GT3 pack.
The thing is that it might actually be a little too early there for Joe of the Fire, as CJ in turn is able to get a little bit of the run. And who is that coming up? Is that, I think it's Nilseman there. It must be, and expected to be Nilse at this moment. Getting a pass on there. Getting past Joe of the Fire.
Getting his pass on. Getting it done. He was caught up briefly because the GT3 cars were on different lines, and you saw he had to hold off. He did so wisely, and he's passed now.
He's passed now, but CJ getting the gain from that situation, getting just a little bit of an advantage down to Joe of Fire.
Additional tenths.
Oh, what's a scrape of the wall there?
To squander some of it by hitting one of the more expensive walls because he's going full speed for a while. That loses him a little bit. But it's so fast through the corners, the Beetle, that you don't really see it.
Just a slight little bit there. These second S's there. CJ looking strong through this sector of the track. Seemingly getting good speed.
CJ has got to be looking at the time remaining for this race and be thinking that's uncomfortably long to be doing this, because you can see how hard he's pushing here. The Beetle in his hands has been looking decently steady for most of the season, but right now it's looking like it's on the limit.
So let's see.
Exit from him here though, but this is going to be an early move for the Master. Is it going to be enough for CJ to try to come back at him? That's the question. You see the move materializing just as we get off the downward slope in the tunnel. That's the earliest GC3 downforce move we've slipstream move we've seen.
Yeah, he made the move just before they came across the line, it seems.
He's able to come back pretty quickly as well.
He is.
He's on the inside. Joe neglecting to defend that inside line, or perhaps not being able to get across those 4 lanes down there to protect it quickly.
We have one of the LMPs coming up from behind now. So we're gonna have more traffic upon this lap. And that is the car of Snipperator, I'm quite sure. It is, of course, because his teammate Jim is out of the race there. Joe of the Fire ducking and diving, trying to find a way through.
Holding off, deciding not to go the kamikaze line, going on the inside underneath the bridge. That lost him a bit of time there.
It certainly lost him a little bit of time on the exit.
To decide at the last minute to hold off and not lose any time from
it. And now it's Ninja Karma.
Ninja Karma!
With a little bit of a touch to the wall there. Just squeezing by CJ on the outside.
Traffic just gets ever more scary when you do these races on this track. Like late on in the race, it's so bad getting passed by guys because suddenly no one wants to wait for it.
But there is a battle still also going down for first position in the LMP class, even though it is a battle that's separated by a bit more time than the one we're seeing for second position in the GT class.
Absolutely. But by now it's up to Snipperator. He's not allowed to make any mistakes if he wants to defend this lead. As we see right there, leader and leader pass each other. Nice little shot with a few minutes to go here still.
also coming up.
That's me hoping not to get lapped by Armored Core.
And Joe of the Fire noting that also the dirty air of being too close to the car in front really hurts on this track through those fast chicanes, especially the first one, and that is absolutely true. It is very difficult with the dirty air through there, so it is often best to keep a little bit of distance. And Ninja Comma has a touch at the wall coming out of turn 2. And that will certainly impede his own chances of catching Snipperator here over the last couple of minutes of the race. As you see, he's already 0.8 of a second down on his best time, and he seems to be swerving a bit. The car seems to be a little unsettled.
Yeah, he seems to be having to make a lot of corrections right there, so there might be some type of suspension damage.
It does look like suspension damage to me as well. So this is all playing into the hands of Snipperator.
1.2 seconds just on this lap. That's very frustrating. A big shame there.
Certainly it is.
Karma not able to get back at Snipperator to have a last minute flourish in the battle for the lead.
But CJ is still in second position in the GT Pro class. Armored Core, of course, in the lead here there as he is slowly but surely catching up to you. Or I'd say slowly but surely. That has happened quite quickly over the last lap time.
Absolutely annihilating me.
And you see that 1:57.3 he has put in. That is an absolutely insane lap as well.
I'm pretty confident in my prediction that he'd be slapping on some super softs and make sure that it will never be monetized.
With that late stop, I'm quite sure that it will be super soft he's on actually at the moment. See that lap time there also a reasonably fast one under any circumstances.
Just a tiny bit slower than the other ones he's had.
1.5 seconds slower than his fastest lap. Armored Core certainly with the pace today. CJ still in second position in class. It'll be interesting to see how close Joe of the Fire is. Oh, he's really close as we come in along the back straight.
He's just a bit. He's pretty close.
He's pretty close, huh? And now CJ defending the inside, coming down towards turn 1. Let's see if Joe of the Fire will be able to have them coming down here. As it also might be, I don't think it's the final lap. I think it looks like Armored Core, CJ and Joe will make one more lap, and that'll be it for the GT field.
What a lap it's going to be if this continues.
And it certainly looks like it is.
Defensive driving from CJ. They're picking the inside and then just picking up a bit of space to the left before making the turn to the right. Great driving from him. Hard but fair. You see Joe just for a second contemplating going on the inside on the kamikaze line there. It doesn't do it. This time he holds off in a more controlled manner and doesn't lose as much time, so it's still all to play for here.
And he just makes sure that he has an ample gap in order to keep the downforce of his own car working, in order not to get any damage from hitting the walls and turning it to be absolutely catastrophic at this moment. For both these drivers, it is so important that they just keep their cool. The pressure is really on at this moment. It is the penultimate lap. It looks, I'm quite sure, not completely, but I think it is the penultimate lap of the race. We are very close to the end of proceedings. It is still Snipperator in the lead of the LMPs, but we're not gonna focus on that anymore because this is just gonna be too tight. There's CJ getting a great exit there from that final hairpin as they come down the front straight. And Joe of the Fire, is he gonna try it once more? He knows he's gonna have CJ coming back. CJ, of course, ducking into the slipstream immediately. Joe just maybe wanting to keep the inside line this time around, but CJ just manages to squeeze in there. Joe of the Fire should have been a little bit more aggressive.
It seemed like he moved to the right to defend, but then saw that the gap was big and decided to move back to the left. Big mistake there.
And that just enables CJ in turn there to keep his second position through turn 1. Joe of the Fire is within centimeters.
Bumper to bumper here.
Absolutely. As
this is why we saw this really nice move from before, and I think there's a good chance he's gonna attempt to replicate it. Can he get into the slipstream of Mika? He can. Oh, but so can CJ. That blocks him.
Down into the first S's here as sparks fly just from scraping the floor as Snipperator has crossed the line in nice fashion to win the LMP AM class in front of Ninja Carmen. Mika looking for a third place finish, and he is gonna get that because Off Apple has crossed the finish line. And it is all down to here is of course Armored Core. If he doesn't make a huge mistake here in the last couple of turns, he will win this one. And I'm quite certain that he will. CJ hits the wall there. And it's coming back out. Oh, there's a squeeze. There's a squeeze there. How did they fit two cars there? I'm not quite sure, but Joe of the Fire has the inside line.
It's a narrow one, the inside line here.
And it's a certain cut back there. Is he able to be the way he is? Certainly. And now it's Joe of the Fire defending second position, coming down towards the line. But CJ getting the strongest exit of the two. Will he be able to get through with the slipstream?
Does the gap increase just a tiny bit? I don't think he'll be able to, but it's gonna be neck and neck.
And he comes
side
in there,
by
and
side
comes
for the
line. Oh, and he takes it. Oh, the yellow flags. Oh my God.
Boy, was I wrong. He was able to take it. What a great finish. That was the battle for P2 in GT3 Pro, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, I'm sorry. People are saying that we can't stream. So we probably should have. But we got a bit carried away.
It used to work on the other microphones. I think we're pretty used to just yelling all the time. I think this is something we have to adjust for. I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
We're trying to work out some sponsorship with Phonak or one of the other hearing aid companies.
Yeah.
And we'll keep you updated on that situation as we have more information. We apologize for that, of course.
Oh, insane battle there.
Yeah, that was one of the most exciting finishes I've seen all season. That was decided by maybe 20 centimeters, something like that.
That was I'm lost for words on that one, and you'll have to just fill in your own thoughts about that one because it was absolutely insane.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Once more, we've had a fantastically eventful race here from Tokyo Expressway.
I gotta say, I'm left with a feeling that we missed so much, and it was almost impossible to catch as much as I just, like, compared to what I remember from racing. Normally I feel like we catch more than I remember from actually doing the race. This time I feel like we didn't really catch anything. It's such an eventful race. I gotta say, I completely agree with what others have said. I really hope this track returns for next season.
Yeah,
because
most definitely so.
It's really got some character about it, huh?
Yeah, very much so. It's it's a great track, and it just provides for some fantastic racing. Everything is so edge of the seat all the time. And you know, making it count here is just something special, I'd say. And we were in for some great racing once more.
Absolutely, and it's also it's nice to have some of these tracks where you really shake up which cars are strong, and also where all the cars are kind of shaken up because you change so much about the setup. I think a lot of the races we do on the other tracks are kind of similar, you know.
Yeah.
Even though it's a different track and it's a different dynamic, you basically run quite similar setups all season. This is completely different.
Yeah, it is.
So it's very different as a driver as well, handling the cars when they're set up in their most slippery state.
Indeed.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. So cool. Thanks to everyone for joining in today. Thanks to everyone in chat for a very lively chat. I think we've reached 253 messages. 253 messages.
It's so much more fun doing this when there's so much going on in the chat.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's almost so much fun. It's true. And can I just say that we have a little announcement. So of course, we've made this announcement pretty much. We haven't made it on air yet. But we will be broadcasting the IGTL, the International Gran Turismo League race, the 3 hours of Catalonia next weekend. It's going to be on Saturday. There's also going to be qualifying, and as far as I've understood, 1.5 hour Porsche Cayman Cup race on Friday. So it's gonna be 2 days of massive live broadcasting from the IGTL, featuring drivers such as, well, Jomas, Kenny, GT Alex, the organizers, but also Tichny's gonna be participating.
Yeah, ever heard of him?
Ever heard of this guy? Soren Klasic. Ever heard of him? I mean, Giorgio Mangano is gonna be participating.
It's absolutely the coolest thing we've done so far. It's a massive, massive race, and it's gonna be a big effort from us as well, trying to take this broadcast to the next level.
To the next level. And Dr. Hash is also participating.
Dr. Hash is there.
Dr. Hash.
Joe commenting that he hasn't heard of any of the other guys. I'm sure you know who Dr. Hash is.
But anyways...
Cheers, guys. It was absolutely ping.
Yeah, it was... It was damn great fun today, and it was great to have you back, Trials, alongside me here today.
It's a
I've been
pleasure.
missing you for so long. A little bromance going on.
Yeah.
And anyways, we are gonna be back with the Super GT race, and that is gonna be on Wednesday. And then, as we said before, we're gonna have the IGTL races on Friday and Saturday. And then, of course, do also join us for the next round of the Nukeshot Endurance Series, which we will be broadcasting in a week's time, next Monday. And it'll, of course, be from the Kyoto circuit with the long layout of both Yamagiwa and Miyabi, which is gonna be...
That's a long boy for sure.
It's gonna be...
It's such a great track.
It's a fantastic track. It's gonna be challenging.
Much forward to smashing that one in both the cars we're racing, because it's gonna be... It should be a decent track for both of our cars.
Yeah.
Both of our cars, even including the two different ones we're racing.
Yeah, both the Aston, the Master, and the Nano.
This is a handling track for sure, and it's definitely a driver's track as well. So look forward to that. It's gonna be elegant. It's gonna be fast.
It's gonna be
ping.
It's gonna. So, anyways, you have been watching Half the Race Gone. My name is DirtenDK, and I've been here with the lovely Trial666. And I think all that is left.
Did you just call me pretty?
He is pretty. And I think all that's left to say for us is until next time, have fun, take care, and bye.
Bye.